all are fighting. Uddhav unilaterally declares candidates.
वो हमारे मराठी में माने मातीची जाण ठेवणारे जो मट्टी में काम करते हैं उसकी पहचान हमारे देश के प्राइम मिनिस्टर जी ने पहचाना.
Navneet Rana selection triggers fight. "22 days to go for Lok Sabha election. Maha struggle over seat allotment." The big focus on 5 Live. It's a generally held consensus that even if 2024 turns out to be some kind of a wave election in favor of the BJP, Maharashtra holds some very tantalizing prospects for a big fight. We'll have to see how that goes because all the indicators are there, and it's not just with the opposition, it's also with the ruling Mahayuti in Maharashtra. We're going to tell you all about what's happening there. It's a state of turbulence in Maharashtra. I'm Shiv. This is 5 Live, and these are the headlines. No relief for Delhi Chief Minister. Kejriwal's Enforcement Directorate custody extended till April the 1st. ED gets additional 4-day custody of the Chief Minister. Actor Govinda's political plunge once again. The actor joins the Shiva Sena. Chief Minister of Maharashtra welcomes Govinda. Actor will be fielded from northwest Mumbai seat. Prime Minister Modi hits out at the Congress party, hitting out at the lawyer's letter on judicial integrity. Prime Minister Modi says bullying others is vintage Congress culture, supports the letter. India hits back at the United States on the State Department's remarks on Kejriwal's arrest. India calls US remarks unwarranted, says India has a robust, independent judiciary and law enforcement system, and the US must respect sovereignty. Ticket turmoil grips Karnataka Congress after Kolar rebellion in Chikballapur. Deputy Chief Minister Shiva assures no one will resign. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah to meet Kolar netas. And it's a bit of a blockbuster start to our special spotlight focus on the state of Maharashtra. Actor Govinda has now joined the ruling Shiv Sena, the Shinde Sena in Maharashtra. Eknath Shinde, the sitting Chief Minister of Maharashtra, has formally welcomed actor Govinda into the Shiv Sena. Govinda is very likely to get the ticket to contest from the Mumbai Northwest constituency. Sources say Govinda will be contesting against Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena's Amol Kirtikar.
शुभेच्छा प्रदान करतो. आजच्या या दिवशी मी या पक्षात प्रवेश करणे हे मला असं वाटतं की देवापासून मिळालेलीच कृपा आहे व प्रेरणा आहे. मी 2004 ते 9 सुरुवातीला पॉलिटिक्स मध्ये असताना बाहेर पडल्यावर मला असं वाटलं होतं की आता पुन्हा कदाचित मी या बाजूला दिसणार नाही. परंतु 10 पासून 24 या 14 वर्षाच्या वनवासानंतर सुरुवात रामराज्य जिथं आहे तिथेच त्याच पक्षात आदरणीय एकनाथ साहेबांच्या कृपेनं आज मी पुन्हा या पक्षात आलोय. व आईपाय ही प्रार्थना आहे की या शुभेच्छा या मनापासून आपण सगळे दिलेले कृपा त्याला मी इमानदारीने मी कसं पार पाडेल अशी आईपायी प्रार्थना करतो. विश्वानि देव सवित दुरितानि परासव यद्भद्रं तन्नासव. त्र्यंबकम जजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टिवर्धनम उर्वारुकमेव बंधनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षयमामृतात् कालहर दुःखहर दारिद्र्यहर कष्टहर रोगहर हर हर महादेव. गेले 14-15 वर्ष
In the last 14-15 years,
मी हे दोन जे आईपासून मला मिळालेले हे जे मंत्र आहेत
I've been following this mantra.
मी माझे काम करत होते कारण मी फिल्म लाईन व पॉलिटिक्स यापासून लांब झालो होतो. मला असं वाटतं की आपली जी कृपा झाली आहे मी
I have your blessings.
परंतु आपल्या वतीने मला मिळालेली ही जिम्मेदारी
The responsibility given to me,
ही वफादारी व इमानदारीने मी वाजवेन व आर्ट अँड कल्चर हा जो सब्जेक्ट आहे
I will perform art and culture, the subject.
मी स्वतःला धन्य समजेल जर का तुम्ही ती जिम्मेदारी मला दिली आर्ट अँड कल्चरची. कारण वर्षानुवर्ष विरारपासून मी बाहेर पडलो आणि आज अख्ख्या जगात नाव झालंय जे, तर लोकांना पण असं वाटलं पाहिजे. कारण की महाराष्ट्राची ही जी भूमी आहे ही चंद्रकृपेची ही अशी एक स्थानभूमी आहे जिथं हे जगात जगबगणारे सगळे जे
Maharashtra is a blessed land.
ते त्याला जन्म देणारे हे स्थान जे आहे संतांची भूमी आहे. आणि
It is the land of saints.
चित्रपट असो किंवा चित्रकूट असो जे काही आहे ते आर्ट अँड कल्चर ला कसं काय ते सरस्वतीच्या कृपेनं अख्ख्या जगात जे आहे आज आहे. आणि त्यात मला असं वाटतं की 5 वर्षापूर्वी मी हे लांबवत
Is famous the world over.
मला असं वाटतं की मी फार वर्षापूर्वी 10 मिनिटाची स्पीच दक्षिण बद्दल दिली होती.
I'd given a speech a very long time ago.
पुन्हा ही 10 मिनिटाची स्पीच जी आहे आईच्या कृपेनं
I'm giving this 10-minute speech again today because of my mother's
ही
blessings.
स्पीच नसून
This is not just a speech.
ती सत्य व्हावी
This is the
अशी
truth.
मी प्रार्थना करतो. कारण फिल्म सिटी हे जे आर्ट अँड कल्चरची ही जी जागा आहे
Film City, which is the land of art and culture.
असल्या स्तरावर जाऊन पोहोचू शकते जे जगातली सगळ्यात मुंबई इज द मॉडर्न सिटी आणि त्यातली जगातली जास्तीत जास्त मॉडर्न प्लेस जो काही असू शकतो इन फ्युचर मला असं वाटतं दॅट इज फिल्म सिटी.
Film City can make a mark for itself in the world over.
फार वर्ष झाले आम्ही जी मुंबई बघायचो
Many years have passed.
त्यापासून आता जास्त सुंदर दिसते.
The Mumbai that I saw earlier on, Mumbai is much more beautiful
आणि हा जो
now.
सौंदर्यीकरणचा सब्जेक्ट आहे हा आदरणीय एकनाथ साहेब आले तेव्हापासून मुंबईमध्ये जास्त हा दिसतोय.
The beautification, of course, has happened under the Chief Minister's leadership.
क्लीन आहे.
It's more
कामं जी
clean.
आहेत सौंदर्यीकरणची असो किंवा जी प्रोग्रेसची असो.
Be it about beautification, be it about progress.
मला असं वाटतं की माझ्यावर जी वर्षानुवर्ष ही जी शिवकृपा राहिली शिवाजींची कृपा राहिली किंवा
I've been blessed by Shivaji.
माझ्यावर कृपा राहिली.
I've been blessed by Balasaheb Thackeray.
ते माझ्या आई वडिलांचे चांगले संबंध होते त्यांच्याबरोबर आणि कधी असं वाटलं
My parents had a good relation with him.
या रीतीनं जुडेल परंतु ही कृपाच आहे. आणि जास्त मोठे मोठे शब्द न सांगता मी धन्यवाद देतो की मैं हिंदी में कितनी वर्षानंतर मी मराठीत
I'll speak in Hindi now because after a long time I spoke in Marathi.
हाँ मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ आदरणीय एकनाथ जी का मेरे साथ में मित्रगण यहाँ पे आए हुए हैं, मैं आप सब लोगों का धन्यवाद देता हूँ। जो लोग यहाँ पे पत्रकार वर्ग से आए हैं, आप सभी।
Okay, so actor Govinda joins the Shinde Shiv Sena, the ruling party of Maharashtra. Govinda, the very, very popular actor, 60 years old. This is his second political stint. Remember, few may remember that Govinda was the Congress Lok Sabha MP from Mumbai between 2004 and 2008. He had very unceremoniously quit as a Lok Sabha MP in 2008 as a result of his very poor parliament attendance as well as his acting career actually going nowhere. So this is Govinda's big return to politics. Has he changed his mind about politics? How did he change his mind? We'll try and get in a word about that. But for now, Govinda all set to contest from the Mumbai Northwest Lok Sabha seat in the big financial capital.
Co-presented by
आपका जॉय भारत का जॉय ई-बाइक
Co-presented by
ग्रीन लैम लैमिनेट्स कुछ मेरा कुछ तुम्हारा पावर्ड बाय MP बिरला सीमेंट परफेक्ट प्लस कंक्रीट स्पेशल
Co-powered by
पारुल यूनिवर्सिटी वडोदरा गुजरात Co-powered by Panasonic AC for smart homes Signature Finest Silver Elaichi, a premium product from Dilbar.
Preparations for the Lok Sabha elections in Maharashtra are turning out to be truly, truly turbulent, and it's all going down to the wire, at least as far as seat allotment and seat sharing is concerned. Disagreement among the opposition Aghadi leaders over seat sharing is escalating with no end in sight in Maharashtra, but things aren't quite perfect even in the ruling side. But first, let's talk about the opposition. The Shiv Sena, UBT, that's the Uddhav Sena, the Sharad Pawar NCP faction and the Congress are at very public loggerheads. The Uddhav Sena has claimed that even they have compromised on seats like Ramtek and Kolhapur. And Sharad Pawar is actually expressing how fed up he is with the proceedings so far. Take a look.
Seat sharing in Maharashtra is becoming a nightmare for the opposition India bloc. Tensions are rising between the Shiv Sena UBT, Sharad Pawar's NCP and the Congress. The Congress and NCP have questioned the Uddhav Sena's unilateral release of candidate list that included the disputed seats of Sangli, Mumbai South Central and Mumbai Northeast. Now the Sena UBT has hit back at its allies.
बात ऐसी है कि हमारी लिस्ट आई है और सीट शेयरिंग की चर्चा लगभग पूरी हो चुकी थी। अब रामटेक हमारी सिटिंग सीट है। मैं ज़रूर ये मानता हूँ कि सांगली में कांग्रेस पार्टी का केडर है, हमारा भी है, कोल्हापुर में भी हमारा था, रामटेक में हमारा था। अब एक केडर महाविकास आघाड़ी के साथ अगर आता है तो सांगली वाली सीट महाविकास आघाड़ी को हम दे सकते हैं ना।
हम कोल्हापुर की जगह दोनों लड़ते थे, दोनों सांसद शिवसेना के थे। हमने अपनी जगह जो 30 वर्ष हमारे पास है वो जगह छोड़ दी।
The Congress is livid with the Sena for fielding a candidate from Sangli, which is a party stronghold.
देखिए, सांगली की सीट पे कांग्रेस कार्यकर्ता बहुत आग्रही है, ये वास्तव है, क्योंकि 2 चुनाव से वहाँ हम हार रहे हैं और भाजपा का प्रत्याशी वहाँ जीत रहा है। उनके खिलाफ एंटी इनकम्बेंसी है, लेकिन फिर भी महायुति, अब देखिए 3 पार्टियां दोनों तरफ है, तो चुनाव तो ताकत से लड़ना पड़ेगा, सबसे अच्छा प्रत्याशी देना पड़ेगा और सब मिलकर उसका अगर प्रचार करेंगे तो हम जीत जाएंगे।
Sharad Pawar too has joined the issue. There is speculation that NCP Pawar faction will declare its candidates without waiting for a final pact, though party leaders have played down the rift.
It's only about one seat, and I'm sure we'll work it out. See, we are a democratic alliance, so everybody has a right to speak their mind. This is a democracy, yeah.
BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis has cited the divide in the MVA to target Uddhav Thackeray.
सन्मान्य उद्धव ठाकरेजींचा अनुभव आम्ही खूप वर्ष घेतलेला आहे, त्यामुळे आम्हाला याची सवय आहे। आता काँग्रेसला त्यांच्यासोबत राहायचं असेल तर त्यांनाही त्याची सवय करून घ्यावी लागेल, ते असंच वाटतं।
As Maharashtra braces itself for the upcoming elections, the outcome of these intense negotiations will not only shape the political landscape of the state, but also have far-reaching implications for the future of the coalition government. With Saurabh Vakhtania in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, joining me live from the state that's throwing up so much suspense and turbulence over seat allotment with just 22 days to go for the elections is our Mumbai chief, Sahil Joshi. I'll start with Mustafa Sheikh on the Aghadi's troubles as far as seat sharing is concerned. You know, ugly words have been used. Sanjay Nirupam in open attack mode, threatening to quit. The NCP Sharad Pawar faction, expressing its exasperation, Mustafa, over the manner in which things are actually playing out. The Congress and the Shiva Sena appear to be in open warfare mode. Is there an end in sight to these seat-sharing troubles?
Well, Shiv, it seems like it has just started, because as these things go on, it seems that if the Sangli seat is not given to Congress, it seems that they have been demoralized. They are saying that entire Western Maharashtra will be facing this impact. They are still having a fight with the NCP over a seat in Bhiwandi. So Congress is being really poked by its own leaders, be it Sanjay Nirupam, be it MLAs like Zishan Siddiqui, who was saying that Congress is taking a discounted deal from Shiv Sena. The Shiv Sena is all out to finish Congress from Mumbai and Maharashtra, and hence Congress, it seems, that is at this time on a back foot, and this is the main time when these alliances are really needed. All three leaders, be it Uddhav Thackeray, Sharad Pawar, and leaders from the Congress, need to come on one stage. There have to be public rallies, and during this time, if leaders are making such comments against each other, it really seems that the momentum which was going on for the last 5 years in the MVA is slowly is damaged with the kind of seat allotment which has taken place. Sharad Pawar, to its party workers off record, has went on to say that the seat sharing ideally should have been decided all three parties sitting together. Parties doing it separately has led to confusion and misunderstanding. Back to you.
Okay, so it's like almost like a too many cooks spoiling the broth, which is how the BJP has tried to paint both the Aghadi and the India alliance at large. Is that actually coming true in Maharashtra? We'll have to wait and see, but time is very, very short. Thanks, Mustafa. Sahil, continue to stay with me. But like I said, the troubles and the frictions are not only in the Aghadi side, the Mahayuti side, the ruling Mahayuti alliance, which comprises the Shinde Sena, the BJP and the Ajit Pawar faction of the NCP, there is a semblance of stability there. The Mahayuti alliance in Maharashtra has finalized its Lok Sabha seat sharing agreement and will be announced anytime. However, deliberations saw a tussle arising after independent MP Navneet Rana was fielded from Amravati on a BJP ticket. The conflict also remains between the allies over the Nashik seat, while the issue over Baramati has now finally been resolved. Watch this report, then we bring in Sahil.
The Mahayuti alliance in Maharashtra is close to sealing a seat-sharing deal for Lok Sabha elections. Sources say the BJP is likely to contest 28 seats, CM Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena 14 and Ajit Pawar's NCP 5 seats. Mahadev Jankar's Rashtriya Samaj Party will get 1 seat. The BJP's decision to induct independent MP Navneet Rana into the party and field her from Amravati has not gone down well with its allies.
हमारे देश के प्राइम मिनिस्टर जी ने पहचाना और मुझे नई एक एमपी को सेकेंड टाइम अटेम्प्ट करने को उन्होंने आज टिकट प्रवेश में जगह पार्टी में प्रवेश दिया। जो विचारधारा हमारे भारतीय जनता पार्टी की है, वही विचारधारा से पिछले में कई वर्षों से काम कर रही हूँ। तो मुझे लगता है बहुत दूर नहीं थी, परिवार के बीच में ही थी। सिर्फ आज ऑफिशियली एक प्रवेश हुआ है।
मौत का कुआं होता है ना, हाँ,
क्यों सर ऐसा क्यों कहना है?
पूरा विरोध उधर है, केस उसके आगे जाने वाली है, हाँ। तो फिर कैसा चुनाव लड़े?
तो आपको लगता है वहाँ से जीत पाएंगे सर?
कैसी
नहीं,
सब विरोध है, उनके खुद पार्टी का विरोध है।
A decision on allocating a seat to Raj Thakkre's Maharashtra Navnirman Sena is yet to be made. According to sources, if the alliance opts to allocate a seat to the MNS, either the Shiv Sena or the BJP will have to sacrifice a seat. Out of the 28 seats allocated to it, the BJP has finalized candidates for 23. Candidates for 5 seats, Mumbai North Central, South Mumbai, Shirdi, Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg and Satara are yet to be decided. Meanwhile, the Nashik seat is being claimed by all 3 parties, BJP, Shiv Sena and NCP. Currently, the constituency is represented by Shiv Sena's Hemant Godse.
नासिक के लिए जो हमने काम किया है, संगठनात्मक काम हो, जो शासकीय योजनाएं हो, लोगों तक पहुंचाने का काम बड़ी जोर से किया है और इसलिए हम निश्चित रूप से यहाँ पे शिवसेना की सीट को जिता के ला सकते हैं.
कार्यकर्त्यांचं मत ही सीट आपण लढवली पाहिजे. राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेसच्याच निशाणीवर, घड्याळ निशाणीवरच राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस पक्षाचे जे काही आम्ही नाशिकचे जो कोण उमेदवार ठरेल तो निवडणुकीला उभा राहणार.
The Mahayuti leadership has been able to resolve the dispute over Baramati seat, which was claimed by both NCP and Shiv Sena. Baramati, the bastion of the Pawar family, is likely to see a face-off between Sharad Pawar's daughter Supriya Sule and Ajit Pawar's wife Sunetra. Bureau Report, India Today.
I want to bring in India Today's Sahil Joshi for a perspective on the turbulence over seats that's taking place on both sides of the divide in Maharashtra. We've shown our viewers reports on the frictions that are taking place both in the Aghadi as well as the Mahayuti. Which ones are more difficult to resolve in your view, Sahil? Give us a perspective on how serious these frictions are.
Well, the frictions within Mahavikas Aghadi are at the party level because there is a fight between the Shiv Sena UBT versus Congress over seat sharing, and specifically with respect to the Sangli seat. I mean, the spread of that conflict is not beyond Sangli. And it is most likely because now Sharad Pawar has intervened and Pawar is saying, solve this issue as early as possible because now they have to plan a joint campaign. So the alliance is going to be intact. Only the bad blood which we saw in last couple of days is basically on the seat of Sangli because both the parties wanted that particular seat and Uddhav Thackeray announced his candidate, and that is the reason why the Congress reacted the way it reacted. Now, what is happening in Mahayuti is not at the party level, but it is happening at the local level. Like Navneet Rana, taken into BJP and fielded in Amravati, which is a SC seat, which has created an issue within the Mahayuti leaders in Amravati, like Anand Rao Adsul, who left Uddhav Thackeray and joined Eknath Shinde, former minister in Vajpayee cabinet, has openly said that Navneet Rana is not acceptable and he is going to campaign against Navneet Rana. A local MLA who runs a small organization called Prahar, is a small party in Mahayuti, part of the government, has clearly said that Navneet Rana is not acceptable. He is going to campaign against Navneet Rana. Similarly, in Baramati, Ajit Pawar being now part of Mahayuti has not been liked by many people who actually left respective parties to join BJP because they were having tussle with Ajit Pawar at the local level. Like Harshavardhan Patil, former Congress leader, joined BJP because he couldn't get along with Ajit Pawar in his constituency. Similarly, Vijay Shivtare, who is part of Shiv Sena, has been campaigning against Ajit Pawar ever since Uddhav Thackeray decided to form an alliance with the Congress and NCP. He also left Uddhav Thackeray because that time Uddhav Thackeray was with NCP and Ajit Pawar was part of the NCP. Now that Ajit Pawar's own wife is now a candidate there in Baramati, has created a lot of problem, and that is the reason why these frictions are happening. Many people who joined BJP in 2019 thinking that in 2024 they will be resettled in the politics, will be given ticket, are now have now found themselves completely unattended because there are multiple partners in Mahayuti with the BJP at this point of time. So they were hoping to get a ticket in 2024 and now suddenly they have realized that there is a Shiv Sena candidate or there is an NCP candidate. They are fighting for their political survival and looking for options at this point of time. So, jokingly in Maharashtra, now Devendra Fadnavis' residence has been called grievances solving center, because everybody is bringing their grievances to Devendra Fadnavis. Is trying very hard because he is the one who had promised them in 2019, okay, in 2024 you will be accommodated in Lok Sabha, you will be given ticket in Lok Sabha, and now he is unable to do anything about it. So that issue is going to linger around even when the campaign is around, and that is what is going to be the problem. Whereas in Maha Vikas Aghadi, the issue will be sorted once the candidates will be finalized, there are only 4 seats which had on which there was a dispute. One seat from Bhiwandi where the NCP Sharad Pawar and the Congress were at the loggerheads. In Sangli, as we already know, and couple of seats in Mumbai. As far as Sanjay Nirupam's seat is concerned, the Congress had already decided to give that seat to Uddhav Thakkre's party. But they thought the Congress thinks that sometimes the problem with the Congress is that even if they are winning 1 or 2 seats in 2014 and 19, they still think that they can with riding on the wave of alliance, they can better their performance this time in 2024, and that is where the friction has started. So we'll have to wait and see, because now Maha Vikas Aghadi is having a meeting. Sharad Pawar, Uddhav Thackeray and Congress leaders are meeting at this point of time to solve this issue, to finalize a campaign strategy, whereas there will be a press conference of Mahayuti maybe today or tomorrow, to finally iron out the differences what they are seeing at this point of time. So it's going to be very interesting in a couple of days. There are 2 months to go for 20th May, the last voting will happen in Mumbai.
Absolutely. Hugely interesting. 2 months to go, but only 22 days left for elections to actually start. Can both the sides actually project a semblance of alignment over these frictions? We'll have to wait and see. Time is definitely short. Sahil, thank you very much for that comprehensive overview on where things are at as far as Maharashtra is concerned. Turning out to be the most tantalizing state this Lok Sabha election. We've got some breaking news coming in. And we're hearing now that the Delhi police is all set to investigate Congress national spokesperson and social media chairperson Supriya Srinath for the post that appeared on her Instagram handle denigrating and abusing Kangana Ranaut, using the metaphor of a prostitute for her candidacy from the constituency of Mandi in Himachal Pradesh. Delhi Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena has sought a detailed investigation report from the Delhi Police Commissioner into the abusive derogatory post that appeared on Congress leader Supriya Srinath's Instagram handle against Kangana Ranaut. To be clear, Supriya Srinath has not only condemned the contents of the post, she's also said that she did not post it personally, that it was someone from her team who had access to her account. BJP leader Bansuri Swaraj, also a candidate in the Lok Sabha election, had written a complaint to the Lieutenant Governor demanding an investigation and registration of FIR against Supriya Srinath for quote-unquote outraging the modesty of a woman. The LG has forwarded that complaint to the police commissioner and directed them to investigate the matter scientifically and take legal action as per the law. Kunal breaking the story first here on India Today. Kunal, following Supriya Srinath's clarification a few days ago about that abusive post that appeared on her social media, nothing further has been heard. We don't know if the Congress has filed an FIR or is investigating through the police. But now, following the Lieutenant Governor's letter to the Delhi Police, is the Delhi Police going to file an FIR and investigate this?
What we are listening and what we are learning from the LG House Force is that LG V.K. Saxena himself talked to the Delhi Police Commissioner and he instructed the Police Commissioner to investigate the matter properly and scientifically and to find out whatsoever details are there to find the truth behind the post. Actually, you mentioned that Supriya Srinath claimed that it was not her, but someone from her team had posted that picture and that post. Still, not quite convincingly, she mentioned that who actually put that post, which created a lot of controversy. So now police will investigate the matter and then they will find out that who was the real culprit, and if what Supriya Srinath is claiming, that is true or not. So a very interesting time to come, and police will look into the matter, not just look into the matter, they will properly investigate and find out the details and find out the truth behind that controversial post.
All right, Kunal, thanks very much for joining us with that update on Supriya Srinath's social media. All right, leaving you with these pictures as we head into a short break before our next segment. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Microsoft founder and the world's richest man, Bill Gates, held an interaction today on artificial intelligence and payments and the growth of digital India. These are images from that interaction.
I'm using my Namo app. ये मेरा फोटो बूथ है. अब आप सेल्फी ले लीजिए इस पर.
Wow.
So,
One of the themes I think India brings to technology is that it should be available for everyone.
गांव में महिलाएं मतलब भैंस को चराएगी, गाय को चराएगी, दूध दोएगी, नहीं. मैं उसके हाथ में टेक्नोलॉजी दे रहा था. मैं ड्रोन दीदी से इन दिनों बातें करता हूँ. उनको इतनी खुशी है, वो कहते हैं हमको साइकिल चलाना नहीं आता था, आज हम पायलट बन गए, हम ड्रोन चला रहे हैं.
Well, India brings to the climate change a rich history of caring about the environment.
ये जो जैकेट है, ये रिसाइकल मटेरियल का है. प्रगति के पैरामीटर हमने क्लाइमेट फ्रेंडली बना रहे थे. आज हमारे प्रगति के सारे पैरामीटर एंटी क्लाइमेट है.
During the pandemic, it was fantastic that the vaccines got invented and India made a lot of those. How did you manage the communication?
आप लोगों को एजुकेट कीजिए और उनको साथ लेकर के चलिए. ये वायरस वर्सेस गवर्नमेंट नहीं है, ये लाइफ वर्सेस वायरस की लड़ाई.
You're one of the hardest working people ever. When you do want to relax, do you have a game or something that helps you to take time off?
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा और कई विषयों पर ऐसे गप्पे मारने का मौका मिला.
Campus of Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad, and with me is Chetan Bhagat. So you have a new book out, 11 Rules for Life. Eat the elephant and be the cockroach.
किसी भी इंसान की आप कोई बड़ी उपलब्धि देखो, उसने कभी ना कभी हाथी खाया होगा. There is another rule called be the cockroach. That is about adaptability. Cockroach दुनिया का सबसे adaptive creature है.
So how do people become the cockroach?
By being training yourself to be okay with change. बदलाव आ रहा है.
मेरे लिए खुशी की बात यह है, जनता की तो मैं थी पहले से भी, लेकिन आज से मैं सारी जनता की कल्याण कैसे होगा, ये जो नारा मुझे प्रेरित किया है सबके साथ सबका विकास का, उसमें मैं सहयोग दूंगी. ये मौका मुझे भाजपा ने दी है, इसलिए मैं और भी धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करती हूँ।
ये बात नहीं है कि फोन नहीं आए, सीनियर लीडरशिप के कईयों के फोन आए हैं, पर जो एक बार मन बन जाता है, जो फैसला लिया जाता है, क्योंकि पिछले 15-20 दिन से लगातार पार्टी से हम बात कर रहे थे, पार्टी के कांटेक्ट में थे, पर किसी तरह की भी कोई कंक्लूसिव जो बात है, कोई कंक्रीट जो बात है, वो पार्टी की तरफ से नहीं हुई, इसीलिए ये फैसला लेना पड़ा।
Who's going to win the battle? BJP and the Congress. Do or die battle.
Elections, the heartbeat of the world's largest democracy. Covered by the political journalist with nearly 4 decades of experience. The man who understands the pulse of the nation. Join India's ultimate newsman.
I will decode the complex political chess game that's at the heart of Indian democracy.
Elections Unlocked with Rajdeep Sardesai. Maximum analysis on the Maximum channel.
In politics, everyone has an opinion, but I have the data. Whose stock is rising? Whose graph is falling? Track India's political stock exchange. Unmatched, unmissable data analytics. The only show on News TV when numbers do the talking. India's most credible poll tracker. The Political Stock Exchange with Rahul Kanwal only on India Today.
Upgraded Tejas makes its first flight. New avatar of our Desi fighter. Tejas Mark 1A cranks up capability. Will replace MiG-21 and much more. Can HAL produce it fast enough? And can the Tejas cure the Air Force's fleet woes? It's a very, very big day for India's homegrown fighter jet, the Tejas. A vastly improved version of the Tejas called the Mark 1A has just taken its first flight. These are images from that first flight that took place today from the HAL airport in Bengaluru. The entire flight lasted about 18 minutes, and now many more flights will take place before 83 of these aircraft in phases over the next few years will be delivered to the Indian Air Force. There are orders being processed for 97 more for a total of 180 of these aircraft that will finally be inducted into the Indian Air Force. Unlike the in-service Tejas, the Mark 1A that you see here taking its first flight today boasts of a slew of upgrades and improvements. Let me just take you through some of those big improvements now. Well, for starter, the new Tejas, the Mark 1A, will be sporting a new advanced radar which gives it an all-new capability across the board. It has a specially upgraded electronic warfare capability that was actually absent in the earlier Tejas. It has updated avionics and a new mission computer. It has the capability, as a result of all of these developments, to fire more weapons and at longer range. It has a smart cockpit and displays, making it an easier machine to fly and fight with for pilots. And very, very crucially, it is much easier to maintain at the squadron level, which has been a big demand of the Indian Air Force. Now let me quickly just tell you some numbers as far as the Tejas is concerned to put this entire program into perspective and tell you why today is such a big day. The first flight of the Tejas took place in 2001, 23 years ago. It entered service 15 years later in 2016. The number of Tejas aircraft in service is a little less than 40, about 32 to 33 aircraft are currently in service. The number of squadrons is 2, so those 32 aircraft are across 2 squadrons which are in Sulur near Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. So far, 83 aircraft of the Mark 1A variant, which took its first flight today, have already been ordered, but there is an order being processed for an additional 97. So 83 plus 97 is 180, and if you add that to the 40 aircraft, some of which are already in service, you're looking at a total final intended fleet of about 215 to 220 aircraft, which will take place. Obviously, that number will be achieved in the next decade. To talk about today's first flight of the improved Tejas, called the Mark 1A, I'm joined now by 2 people who are very familiar with the program, who've been watching it for many years and know more than a thing or two about the importance of today and what the next steps will actually be. Group Captain Narayanan Deepak is a former Tejas pilot. He's retired now, but he's not only flown the aircraft, but he's also very crucially been part of the team that tested the Tejas around the time that it entered service. So he knows more than a thing or two about the aircraft itself. Angad Singh, who you've seen before here on India Today and Battle Cry, is our favorite aviation analyst and expert, and he also has written extensively about the Tejas, specifically on the Tejas Mark 1. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you very much for being with me on this important day. Group Captain Deepak, to you first. How important is the day today? The Mark 1A has been slightly delayed. These were improvements over the baseline Tejas that had been agreed upon a few years ago. There was a lot of anticipation over, this order being speeded up so deliveries can actually begin. But finally, this first flight has taken. How important is it?
Yeah, Shiv. Hi, Shiv. Mark 1A is very, very important because it's been delayed just by a few months. But the need we need much more fighters. We are down to 30 squadrons and we need a lot more fighters. So the testing of Mark 1A is very, very important.
It is going to be very, very crucial as far as shoring up depleting numbers and squadron strength of the Indian Air Force. So that's an important point that Group Captain Narayanan Deepak makes. Angad, coming to you, you've written extensively on the Mark 1A. What are your first big takeaways from today? It's good to see the Mark 1A finally in the air.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, glass half full. It's good to see the aircraft finally take flight. The last couple of months have been almost excruciating, with all the back and forth on when will it finally get airborne. But as the Group Captain Deepak said, the main issue right now is numbers. So this is, to my mind, this is the first step, a wonderful, a welcome step, but just the first step on a very long road. Now HAL has to really buckle down and crank these aircraft out as quickly as promised. I think they're targeting 16 or more aircraft per year, which is 1 squadron a year now through about 2028, 29, which is a good, healthy production rate, and that's going to be the real proof of the pudding.
Okay, I'm going to come to production rate and the challenges that, HAL will be facing now that the first flight has taken place in just a moment. But Group Captain Deepak, from a pilot's perspective, give us what your sense of, how improved is the Mark 1A compared to the original Tejas in terms of what it can do? You've been there in the trenches testing these aircraft, see what they can actually do. You've flown them extensively as well. Give us a pilot sense of what is the difference and how is this a better aircraft for the warfighter?
See, Mark 1A, it has an overall improvement in terms of avionics. And it's got, like you said, it's got advanced mission computer. It's got a higher performance DFCC, smart multifunction displays. It's got a active electronically scanned array radars, self-protection jammer, EW suite. These are very, very important, which was missing in Mark 1. Especially EW. EW is very important. and that's what decides role in combat and all.
Yeah.
So,
how do you assess?
And,
yeah, go,
there are a lot of
finish.
improvements in terms of maintainability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Important. Angad, what is your assessment of the improvements? You know, the Mark 1A was seen as a kind of, compromise configuration following the Mark 1. The Indian Air Force and the makers of the Tejas finally agreed on a certain set of improvements. How do you assess these improvements? How much better is the Mark 1A than the original Tejas that's in service, Angad?
Yeah, I think the improvements are useful. How does one put it? So the first Mark 1 LCA was it had a number of shortcomings which the Air Force was fundamentally not willing to live with in the long term. The Mark 1A can be seen as a midlife upgrade that comes fresh from the factory. So instead of building Mark 1s and then waiting 10, 20, 30 years before you upgrade them and then living with them for another 30 years, you're just you're advancing all that upgrade work and making it a contemporary, state-of-the-art fighter today and rolling it out of the factory floor, which I think, as compromises go, that was a really good one. That was a good call back in, I think, 2015 when this whole ball started rolling on Mark 1A. Something that we're not talking about, because India is not a weapons exporting nation right now, a major weapons exporter right now. But I think the Mark 1A is also really useful in tackling that sort of export market because it's no longer an LCA with caveats and ifs and buts. It is fairly state-of-the-art, fairly contemporary, world-class aircraft now that you can take to market. Once we get the indigenous radar on there, it'll become an easier export item. There'll be less, foreign governments and things to contend with for export clearances. So I think not just for the domestic customer, but it's an important step forward for realizing the export dream.
Group Captain Deepak, the first flight has taken place. The March 31st was supposed to be that kind of deadline for deliveries to actually begin. In your view, and you've seen this close up, how long before deliveries can actually start now? From first flight to first delivery, how long will that take?
See, normally it's about 4 to 6 flight test sorties that takes place for LCA, typically.
Yeah.
And in maybe another week or maybe 2 weeks, you'll be able to start delivery.
Okay, a week or 2 weeks. Angad, the challenges before HAL as far as production rates are concerned, that's also been a sort of long-winded conversation between the Air Force and HAL. A spotlight has been on that production rate. Is HAL in a position, Angad, in your view, to meet the Air Force's, delivery rate demands?
That's, I think, best answered by HAL. But one thing I would caution is not reading too much into the delay of the first flight and trying to extrapolate that into the program delivery rates, because first flights generally, there's a lot of unknowns. Once production hits its stride, there's less unknowns, and you're likelier to hit your deadlines. And if you're lucky, you might even claw back some of the lost time. I think we're 2 months behind on this project, which is as development projects go, and especially Indian development programs go, that's it's a rounding error. That's a fantastic number for day one.
Group Captain Deepak, the Tejas has had a troubled development cycle. For decades, the Indian Air Force has been, reluctant, skeptical about the Tejas. We've seen a pretty marked shift as far as the Air Force's attitude to the Tejas is concerned. With this first flight now, and whatever is going to come up in the next few weeks and months, do you think that's going to change for the better even more?
Yes, definitely. See, we had a large break. We had a break of almost 40 years from the last time aircrafts were tested. That was from the time of Maruts. We had a gap of 40 years. We had to cover it. So we were pretty cautious in our approach. Yeah. We didn't want any accidents. Nothing. In fact, Tejas' first crash happened just a few weeks before, which itself speaks for itself. It speaks volumes of the aircraft.
Absolutely, it does, and I completely agree with you. One final question to you, Angad, in that case is, some would say, we're still talking about an aircraft like the Tejas when, we've got a China that's already in the 5th generation game? Everyone's talking about 5th generation fighters. Some are even talking about 6th generation fighters. How does the Tejas really fit into all of that? Has India, wasted time as far as moving forward on 5th generation technologies is concerned? We do know that the AMCA program was recently sanctioned as well.
Shiv, before I answer that, if you'll allow me to bore your viewers with a little bit of maths.
Please.
I just want to go back to what you said last with, the Air Force being a skeptical customer. I think you'll find financially that doesn't match because the Air Force is about 18 billion a year in budget, the Indian Air Force. And the United States Air Force has 250 billion, right? And that's a 14-fold increase. If you scale the Indian Air Force's Tejas order up to match the United States Air Force's budget, the Indian Air Force is buying almost 50% more LCAs today than the United States Air Force is buying F-35s.
Interesting.
So, if you have to keep things in perspective and in proportion. And in proportion, I think the Air Force's commitment in word and deed to this fighter is pretty hard to fault. And if they do get picky at times about certain aspects, I think as the buyer, they're entitled to that. But answering your second question about the AMCA and the LCA Mark 1 and where it fits. That's something I've written about in the past as well. We are industrially not so far behind the curve, but we'll be inducting a 4th generation aircraft into the late 2020s, and depending on how LCA Mark 2 goes and all that, there is a very serious question mark around the value of inducting large numbers of 4th generation aircraft well into the 2030s. So perhaps the Mark 1A, if everything goes well and everything goes smoothly with this program, maybe that can force some questions, maybe a rethink on LCA Mark 2. Because, to my mind... Sure, having these intermediate projects like LCA Mark 2 to sort of bridge the gap between Mark 1 and AMCA, on a technological development scale, that makes sense. But we just don't have that kind of time. Because we're already seeing 5th generation aircraft proliferating in our neighborhood. And the 2030s is going to be a decade very firmly off the 5th generation. We're not going to have the luxury of, mixed fleets and picking and choosing our battles. So maybe Mark 1A forces that rethink. And if HAL can expand production beyond 16 a year, if we could do, let's say, 2 squadrons a year of this aircraft, it might take Mark 2 off the table entirely, and let both the technological side and the industrial side of national capacity to focus on, free them up to focus on AMCA.
Okay, that's excellent perspective, and thank you for shining the light on a first flight where there wasn't a lot of hoopla, not a lot of media attention. Most of it only happened on social media, but I'm glad we were able to give it some attention here on India Today, as we always do with aviation and defense issues. So I thank Group Captain Deepak and Angad Singh, as always, for being with us here on this episode. Thanks very much, gentlemen. Well, one of the privileges of being a journalist is the opportunity to really immerse yourself in a story. Now, the first flight of the improved Tejas, the Mark 1A fighter today, is a big deal by any measure. I like to think I have just a little extra appreciation for how big today really is. And that's because in 2019, I was invited to fly in a Tejas in the very same airspace that today's milestone flight took place. Sure, it was a joyride because I'm not a pilot, and apart from a few minutes of handling the aircraft at about 8,000 feet, I didn't really fly the plane. But the entire experience allowed me not only to get a taste of the aircraft, but to spend a large amount of priceless time with the pilots and crew that spend their lives with the Tejas. These are people who've spent their careers flying foreign origin fighters, but now gladly throw their weight behind India's homegrown combat aircraft. Today's first flight of the improved Tejas Mark 1A comes 12 days after the first ever crash of a Tejas. The first accident in 23 years of flight and 8 years of squadron service. Those are super enviable safety numbers and something the Tejas community is rightfully very proud of. With this deeply improved version of the Tejas taking to the air, the Indian Air Force, once skeptical and reluctant about the Tejas, and rightly so as its customer, is not just an eager customer, but a wholehearted advocate of the Tejas' capabilities. I speak to Tejas pilots very often, and they're very excited about this plane that they love now arriving with a slew of improvements that make it even more effective than it already is and becomes much more friendly to maintenance staff and mechanics. Let's not forget the amazing community of non-pilots who keep these beautiful jets in ship-shape for flight and combat duties. As someone who's strapped into a Tejas cockpit and cannot wait to film these warbirds up close very soon again, here's wishing the entire Tejas program and testing team and the unit that will receive these Indian fighters the very best, happy hunting and always happy landings. Jai Hind. Well, that's a wrap on 5 Live. Thanks so much for watching. 6 p.m. Prime with Akshita comes up next.